Hello, everyone. Welcome to Training Tuesday. It's great to have you with us for today's webinar. We're ending today is the last one of the Bridge Deck series. So we're going to take what we've learned and we're going to reintroduce a little bit, of extra stuff, recap, and also explain more about your resources and the estimations. So you didn't have to watch all the other ones. It does help, but go back and they're all on YouTube channel for Dayton Superior, as well as DaytonSuperior.com. Okay, so thanks for taking the time out today to join us. My name is Heidi Reese, and I am the Training Programs Manager here at Dayton Superior. Just a couple of items to go over before we get going with Chuck. Everyone is muted who's joined the call, so don't let that stop you. You can continue to ask questions through the chat functionality in Zoom. And at the end of the presentation, there's going to be a mini question and answer session. I already stated that we put everything out there on YouTube as well as DaytonSuperior.com. So just let you know, this one is being recorded as well. And this presentation is intended for training purposes only. So any technical specifications for the products that are mentioned, please go to DaytonSuperior.com and you can find technical data sheets, safety data sheets, all kinds of good information. All right then, so to get us started, for those of you who don't know who Dayton Superior is, we are the leading provider of engineered solutions for the concrete construction industry. So today we're going to talk about a piece of the accessories, but we also have chemicals, forming, obviously training, and our engineering solutions. We are the leading provider for all of these, and Simon's Forming Shoring, if you're in need of that, is there, it's adaptable, strong, and saves labor costs. In addition, we have concrete repair and restoration from the chemical line, bridge deck, of course, rebar splicing, precast, and tilt-up construction products. All right, so let's get going with why we're here. We're going to be talking about understanding your bridge deck resources. So a lot of things going on, estimating, understanding the plans. We've looked at those a couple, but we're going to get into what each section means again, calculations and spacings, and then, of course, your resources. So all of you probably know Chuck, but just to reiterate for those on the phone that don't, Chuck has been in the construction industry for over 49 years. 20 of those is as a dealer for accessories, forming, and chemical products. 29 is here at Dayton Superior, and he's worked across many different areas of the business, so he knows the ins and outs of it. He's very knowledgeable, and even in-house we go to him all the time for questions, especially around bridge deck, where he's very good with the technical aspect. So his business and civil engineering degree helps contribute to his role here at Dayton Superior. He's a subject matter expert, just like I said, and currently he's sharing his knowledge through the training aspect by being our national training manager, and is an integral part in helping customers as internals to understand the complete portfolio of product offerings. So Mr. Chuck Hogue, take it away.
Thank you, Heidi. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome today to Training Tuesday. Today we're going to talk, as Heidi iterated, understanding your bridge deck resources. The estimating part of it, we talked about earlier. If you looked at any of the past 3 trainings that we've gone through, we started out with bridge deck, exterior, interior, and then also had understanding the other items within the bridge deck that you can supply accessory-wise. So we will then talk a little bit about the plans and understand these calculations, what needs to happen with the calculations and how they have to be, how you can look at them. Resources, what's available for you today. Once we finish this class, you should be able to go out and do an estimate on a bridge deck using the plans from the contractor and looking at our bridge deck handbook to actually generate an estimate. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go looking at estimating the bridge deck. We start out obviously looking at some plans. You're basically going to need a couple of different views. You need a section view and you need a framing plan view to actually take a look at what the actual bridge deck is, how it's constructed. So from there, you can come and start finalizing the estimate. Basically get once your estimate is taken off, the Dayton Superior quote can be derived for you from your sales rep. And then obviously, you can attend the training Tuesday to understand how we did all this.
Oh, Chuck didn't notice I put that in there for him. So check that off, guys. You're doing it.
So here, when we have our pages of the plans, you're going to get a ton of pages. I mean, I haven't seen a project here lately with less than 200 pages on them. There seems to be a paper shortage in the industry. So we're contributing to killing the trees by having all these plans produced. But realistically, for what we need, we only need a couple of different drawings. So don't get real scared about seeing a large quantity of plans. You typically are only going to go for 2 or 3 drawings per bridge that you will need. So here we have our typical section view as we talked about in past trainings here. This presentation, this set of plans here also has a framing plan because it has a steel beam. You will also get this with a concrete girder detail on it for those jobs that have concrete girders. You will, in lieu of the steel here, the framing plan with the steel detail, you will have a concrete girder detail, which will actually lay out the flange width, the web, the sizes of what size the beam is, whether it be a type 1, type 2, up to a type 7, or any of the next generation beams. So from that drawing, that's going to give you the overall length, and whether steel or concrete, this framing plan view is going to always give you the length of the bridge deck. So from one end to the other end, you can see that dimension is listed down here. 2 is broke down into halves typically, or you can go down and look at the bottom of the steel, on the bottom of the page here, where you have the steel beam detail, and it'll give you the dimensions of the steel beam, including the length. What it'll also give you is all of the girder details, especially on a steel girder, which is a lot different than a concrete girder, and that the steel beam can have multiple beam flange widths. And those all come into play when you are calculating what hanger you're going to use, especially if you have to use a hanger that runs across the top of the beam flange in lieu of being like a half hanger welded to the girder. So you will need to know where those upsized beam flanges are and what the length of those flanges are. Here, we also have the center to center. Basically, center line of girder to get center line of girder. So that's going to give you the overall width of the girders. And this drawing here will also give you other information such as your deck thickness, your height over your girders, your thickness over your girders, which is going to actually tell you what your haunch will be, and your parapet designs. Other items from the same page here is going to be your deck thickness, your parapet dimension. So you're going to have a overhang dimension, and then you're going to actually have the deck parameters in and around what makes up that overhang, which will be the thickness of the concrete out on the final edge, and also what the concrete coverage needs to be of that in that area. You will also get on here the out-to-out. Now, the reason we need the out-to-out dimension, which is basically from edge of deck to edge of deck, is that is going to be how wide the finishing machine is going to be. Typically, the finishing machine rides on the forms that typically sit on the overhang bracket. And you know, I said typically. About 95% of the time, you will see that happen across the country. The overhang bracket will have to support the finishing machine. Now, in some areas, they will run the finishing machine off of the center line of the girder. And if that happens, there's a different qualification and product line that you can go to. But you can get that answer from your regional sales manager. He can actually show you how to do that. We've kind of tried to make this all easy for you as far as how to gather all of the information we have. So we actually have our bridge deck information sheet. This can be emailed to you where you can actually fill out just the blue lines, what you'll need. Obviously, if you look at this sheet here, the top half of the sheet is typically going to be the job information sheet, about job, basically the credentials, where it is, et cetera. The next section down below that is going to be the overhang calculations, the geometry details. And that is going to deal primarily with the overhang. Now, if you need or have interior deck forming that is going to be required, and a lot of jobs don't. So if you don't need it, you don't have to worry about finishing the bottom section. But if you do need it, it's already here. From that, we will actually develop the spacing for an overhang bracket. We can actually come up and develop a chart here for forming it up. Here is a standard detail that we've come through for a job here with concrete girders, overhang bracket in place, the hangers are in place. The interior forming details are all done with lumber sizes and dimensions labeled. You'll also see that the finishing machine is set up on the overhang bracket at the edge of the bridge deck, and it will tell you what the load per screed per wheel on that screed is. Now, that load can only be derived from the contractor. Unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball that can tell us what machine the contractor has and what options he has on it. A lot of the finishing machines in today's business, as we talked earlier, come with a plethora of options. And every time they add something to it, it adds weight. So that has to come from the contractor. And once that is all done, from that drawing, we actually have this calculation sheet, which actually is the meat and potatoes part of the bridge deck. This is what is required by the most DOTs to continue with a pour. It basically gives you how to set up your overhang bracket. From this project right here, right in here, this section here, we can actually come in and do this will tell you how to set your overhang bracket up.
Now, Chuck, we didn't see that on there. Was that the image in the middle?
This is the image right in this area.
There we
right
go.
Here. Here we go.
Yeah, start drawing.
So I'm gonna play John Madden here, and we're gonna get all our little lines running around here. But typically, you see here this section here shows you how to set up your overhang bracket. And when your overhang bracket is set up before you carrying it out on the bridge, it makes life a lot easier for the guys setting the bracket in position. So this way the bracket is 95 to 80%, 95 to 98% ready to go. So it's actually, and then what you'll also find is that the overhang calculations that you're looking for will be a load on the diagonal of the bracket, and that's down here at the bottom. This is for when we have to do interior work. Typically, if we have to calculate for the interior work, the summation here, you won't see a lot of this information because we won't have a lot of the, obviously the interior calculations, but if you do, here it is. And here's the rest of the interior calculation. And we come back with lumber requirements for that sheet. And this will actually double check and verify all strength and capacities for number 2 lumber material. In the bridge deck handbook, all of those sheets are actually included in the handbook. In the calculation handbook. So in the calculation booklet, we will also get all of the safety information and requirements and all data sheets regarding all of the component pieces within the deck. Basically, as far as the C49, C49C, the C49D, all depending what bracket you're going to use. Everything you really need to know is in there, plus probably a whole lot more. One of the big items you'll see is this sheet right here, which will basically give you the dimensions of the overhang bracket, the width, the length, etc., the weight capacity, what the vertical adjustment of the bracket is. So, and you'll also get the hanger calculations, basically, which will tell you what hanger we're recommending, what hanger is going to be used here. Obviously, this bridge was a precast job, precast beam, so you're getting a precast type hanger. So here we have our C24 for APR. This will give you the loading capabilities and capacities within that bracket and hanger. You may also have a steel beam, so you would have a C24 or a C60 type hanger cast in there, but you also will get any of the safety data sheets that are required for this booklet. And this booklet can actually be turned into the state. We can actually get this with a PE stamp, so it then can be stamped, sent out to the DOTs, to show for the contractor can actually have this as his forming project for this DOT job. Now for estimating, inside the bridge deck handbook itself, all those calculations that we talked about, basically we kind of put into a nutshell. We basically stereotyped it, basically merged a lot of pieces here. But we got it down, so if you're doing a quick estimate, down and dirty, you wanted to know you had a 10-inch thick deck, a 2'9" overhang, you've got your loading capacity, so loading on it is 750 pounds, so you're going to use 2x4 joists, and you've got 750 pounds for a screed load wheel. So here you're going to look at what your capacity is. You're going to find the booklet here, and you're going to look up here at the top pages, up here first, 2 foot to 3 foot. So remember, we got 2'9" overhang, so that's where we went to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at where the S1 intersects at the, actually it should be 750 PSF row. So it would be right someplace down in this area, down through here. And if you look right here, we actually have the area highlighted here, and you'll see what the spacing is. Now, what you will notice is that even though the overhang is consistent at the same 2'9". What's going to change on the spacing is the capacity of the hanger. The stronger the hanger typically means a lot wider spacing. So if you're using a 6,000-pound hanger, you're going to be able to open that up to somewhere in the neighborhood of around 4 foot 3 inches. Realistically, I would probably kick that back down to 4 foot spacing because myself, after 4 foot, typically number 2 lumber typically has a tendency to deflect more than 1/4 of an inch at 4-foot spacing, so I like to keep I don't like to have a lot of deflections in my lumber forming. So if I lose my deflection in there, I'm going to end up with the concrete just won't be nice, straight, crisp lines and the joints. Sometimes you will get an occasion where you're going to end up having to have overhang brackets spaced a little bit different than what the interior is going to. In a perfect world, we would love to have interior spacing the same as the exterior spacing, but that doesn't happen every day. So what you do end up having here is overhang bracket space twice as close as the interior base. So whether it may be because of an overzealous finishing machine that's actually causing the weight to move the brackets in closer. So, but realistically, what we're looking at here is overhang brackets at roughly 2 foot on center with an interior spacing of, let's say 4 foot. And you can see here they're using, on this one here, ledger is different than the brackets. Using 4x4 joists to space ledgers at 5 foot 4 inches centers, and the brackets at 2 foot 8. Here, you know, realistically, a lot of times they would kick down to 2 foot and 4 foot, but here they kicked them at 2 foot 8 and 5 foot 4. With the thing you only have to worry about is some of the deflection on the interior base. And inside the price book, if everybody has access to our price book, it's online. This is the most current price that's out there right now, as of today's date. This is the current standard engineering services price list. And you can see there's different things. If you're looking for just the calculation is $125 for just the overhang. If you want a drawing for just the overhang with the spacing, you are talking $250. If you want the interiors, it's $100. If you're looking at interior drawings with the calculation, that's another $200. So you can basically pick and choose which ones you need. A lot of times, additional booklets are available if needed upon request. You can see that there is a PE stamp available, and at Dayton, we are blessed to have a series of PEs working for us. And they are really good people that work for us, and they are around the country, and I believe we have all 50 states in-house.
We do.
So now you can build your quotation. Just remember, you got your calculation sheet, take your overhang brackets, divide it by the spacing that you got from your engineering. So your overall length of your bridge divided by the spacing, +1 to start out with. Interior hangers are going to be the same number of hangers as both interior and exterior. If everything lines up, you're going to have the same number of hangers inside and outside. You'll use the same rules for spacing. Divide the overall length by the spacing that you achieved in your calculation, +1 per bay. Then accessories, components for being the bridge. You got your overhang brackets, obviously, they're going to be in here, but you also need to have your C-52s, your C-54s, your guardrail brackets, and your form extensions. You're also going to have coil bolts. Coil bolts can usually be, and myself, I like to use an adjustable coil bolt. A lot of contractors like to try to save a few bucks and try to use a standard piece of coil rod with a nut. I just have problems with trying to get the coil rod out because you got to grab it with a vice grip after the fact to get it to back out. So if it has a nut welded to the end, it makes it handy, quick, and easy. And then obviously bar supports. Bar supports are actually going to support the rebar within the deck. We have a multitude of different sizes, whether it be metal with plastic tips, stainless steel, galvanized, epoxy coated, galvanized. And we can also go with slab bolster and then slab bolster upper. We can also do slab bolster for metal deck. We can also do all plastic bar supports. So we are the one-stop shop for all bar supports required. With this information, you've got tech data sheets to back up everything that we've got here. You've got handbooks, you've got the e-marketing pages, the product pages, which are going to go over everything from the overhang brackets to the hanger to the calculations. With that, we've got basically our resources. You need to find out who your sales rep is in your area. We have the map online. You can basically call it up on DaytonSuperior.com. Your type salesman, tech service, customer service. Big one is the Bridge Deck Engineering Services. They do an awesome job here getting projects in and put out. So if you do need assistance, they are here waiting to help. Engineering, like I said, does all bridge deck exteriors, interiors. They do a calculation package. They can provide everything with a PE stamp. Not to mention, we can also back all this product up with Made in America U.S. product here from Dayton Superior for bridge deck. Couple of new things that you're going to see. Require additional training. If you are out there, whether you are a contractor or a dealer, and you need or want us to come in and do training, please click on the QR code here to your right. This will actually give you a sign-up sheet where you can put your name in, the information all about what you're looking for. And either Heidi or myself will be in touch with you to actually go over and set up something that what is convenient for you, whether it be online or in person. Once again, everything is available from Training Tuesdays at DaytonSuperior.com, or you can go to YouTube and search Dayton Superior to actually get the Training Tuesday that you're looking for. You can also email me or Heidi at training@DaytonSuperior.com. This comes in, this goes to both of us at a common mailbox. So, and we typically, we talk to each other usually.
What? No, we don't.
Yes, we
just
do.
On Tuesdays, Chuck.
We put up with each other and we talk. And we talk regularly on every morning in regards to any of the Training Tuesday training comments that come in or requirements for what that are going to be needed. And with that, thank you very much. And if you have any questions,
We've got some.
Feel free to ask.
So while everybody else is asking some questions, let's talk about the Made in America. So specifically, the C49s, are those made in America as well?
The C49 are made in Parsons, Kansas.
Perfect. And do they come assembled or are?
They are typically come assembled and or that we can ship them unassembled. Majority of the people like to have them already assembled, so they are already set at a assembled price? They aren't preset for your bridge, but they will be assembled in a 90-45.
Fantastic. All right. Is there any other questions? Good question. Okay, like Chuck had mentioned, if you want to scan that QR code, it does go to us. I mean, the training at DaytonSuperior.com does as well. If you have questions, feel free to ask us. If you want to set up a training or you want to even think about setting up a training, just contact us and we'll talk back with you. Everything is recorded and it's out there on YouTube, as Chuck mentioned, and I did in the beginning. as well as on DaytonSuperior.com. Just search Training Tuesdays and you get the registration page for all the training sessions to sign up for the next week. Next week, we're going to be doing high rise. So that's exciting. We're moving off of bridge deck and we're going into safety week next week, and some superior deal opportunities, yay, as well as different other safety elements and just talking general products. So stay tuned for those. And if there's no other questions, then we will end today's call with a big thank you.
And thank you, and have a great day, everyone.
See you next time.